How's it going, everybody? This is Bryson and Chris over at Metro Bis.
And yeah, we're going to do Pad Thai for you today. Actually, Bryson's going to do Pad Thai because Bryson, just like you, years ago, was a student from Simsbury High School Culinary Program. So I thought it would be perfect to let him take the lead and show you how to make probably one of our most popular dishes, which is Pad Thai with chicken. All right? Take it away, Bryson.
All right. So Pad Thai is a traditional Thai dish. It's a stir fry with rice noodles. Our version has a chili sauce that we kind of doctor up, and we put in chicken and tofu, and then we garnish with a little bit of peanut and lime. So I'm going to take you through the steps and show you the ingredients and explain the process of making the Pad Thai stir fry. So up front here we have the raw ingredients. This is the rice noodle that we use. It's packaged like this, and then we chop it into thirds, and then we put it into a bucket and rinse it with hot water. And then we let it sit, and it comes out like this. It's kind of like got an al dente spaghetti kind of a feel. And this is the main kind of ingredient in the Pad Thai that gives it its body. Over here we have a firm tofu, and we take this, we chop it into blocks, and then we fry it in the fryer at about 350, and that's the fried product. Very crispy. I didn't really like tofu until I got introduced to it in this dish. And it soaks up all of the flavor that you introduce to it, and it has this like very powerful kind of like a spongy, flavorful kick when you bite into it, and it's one of the most amazing parts of this dish. Over here we have the My Pui chili sauce, and we take a couple bottles, I think it's 4 bottles of this, and then a bottle of this fish sauce, which has a very funky, pungent flavor, and then the chili sauce has a kind of, it's a mild burn, but it's got a nice sweetness to it, and then we doctor it with vinegar and sugar, and it comes out to a more thin, syrupy kind of a product we have right here. And then this is going to be the flavor that we add to the Pad Thai. And then over here we have some diced chicken that we're going to introduce in the pan first and saute before we add any more ingredients. And then we're going to garnish with scallions, peanuts, and a little bit of lime just to add a little bit of sweet kick to it. And traditionally this dish gets prepared with mung beans, but because of the odd food shortage that we're going through right now in produce, it's very, very hard to find mung bean sprouts. So we're going to have to kick it on this dish and substitute something else. So we're going to move forward, and I'm going to show you what this looks like when you make it in the pan. So we want to get our saute pan a little warm, and then introduce the oil to it. You don't want a lot of oil when you're sauteing this dish because the oil will burn and interrupt the flavor of the actual Pad Thai. And we just want to make sure that it's nice and hot, so when we add the chicken to it, it gets a nice sear on it. And you never want to fully cook the chicken on the first go here. You want to let the chicken cook in the sauce that you add to it at the second part. You see the striations in the oil here? That's how you know it's getting hot. And when it gets to a nice, right before it gets smoky or anything, that's when you want to add the chicken to it and get a nice sear on the chicken, because it's really, really flavorful and really good when you get that crispiness just a little bit on the chicken before you add all the liquid to it and continue cooking it, or else the dish gets kind of mushy. Alright, so we're at about the temperature we want to be. You can see the oil kind of doing its thing in there. Love that sound. So what you want to do is make a base of the chicken so it all cooks kind of evenly in there. You just kind of want to let it cook for a minute without interrupting it. Make sure it's all laid out flat so you get a nice surface area over there. You see some of the chicken starting to brown here. It's a really quick cook because it's such small pieces of diced chicken. And you can kind of do this with anything. You can have shrimp in the pan, you can have seared beef if you wanted to do something like that. But our menu version has chicken in it always. You see the chicken kind of cooking up. And again, you don't want to fully cook the chicken right here because then it's going to get tough and rubbery. And that's not what we're going for. What we're going for is a more outside sear, and then you're going to add the chili sauce that I showed you in that clear 6 pan. and then it's going to fully cook the chicken while the sauce comes up. And then we add the noodles and the rest of the dish. So this is just about where you want it, where the outside of all the chicken is cooked. You don't see any pink, but if you were to break into one of these pieces, it wouldn't be fully cooked, like you wouldn't want to eat this dish right now. Alright, here we have the Pad Thai sauce. We had just about 6 to 8 ounces. This is going to be a heavy portion, so I'm going to add a little bit more. And you don't want this sauce to reduce very much at all. What you want to do is have it come up and bubble where it is right here, all around the dish. And that way when you introduce the usually cold noodles to it, it doesn't bring the temperature too far down, and you can cook the noodles a little bit more and get them softer. Because right now, like I said, they have a very al dente kind of a feel, and no one wants to eat a crunchy noodle in a pad thai. Alright. And this again is going to fully cook the chicken, and the chicken's going to soak up all that sweet pad thai sauce flavor and become the best chicken it can be. Alright, so you see that bubbling? That's exactly what we want. Again, we're going to turn our flame down a little bit because we don't want to reduce the sauce. We just want to get it hot. And then we're going to add enough pad thai noodles to the pan to pretty much cover the sauce that's bubbling. Alright, so something like that. And now these noodles look really big right now, but they're going to sink down in the sauce as they cook. This is one of my favorite dishes. This is one of the first dishes I learned when I started working saute here, and it's fun, it's easy, it's light. It's one of those. It's a crowd pleaser for sure. It's one of those dishes that I'll cook on a Saturday lunch for a customer when a ticket comes in, and the whole wait staff goes, you know, oh my God, I want a pad thai. Oh my God, they're out there saying how good the pad thai is. And it's one of those dishes you put one out, and then every other ticket after that, the whole dining room smells it, and they all order pad thai. And it's a fun dish to flip in the pan. So you know, you're going for that aesthetic. It's all around fun, and it's simple. It's easy. It's very cost effective because it has very little goes into making the ingredients and getting the raw product, and it's a very quick dish. I prepped this meal when I first came in today, and it took about maybe 20 minutes total. I think the longest thing is frying the tofu and getting the noodles nice and soaked so they come out soft and not hard. And like I was saying, you can see the noodles right here kind of soaking up the juice and wilting, for lack of a better word, into the pan. And you want to cook this dish now at a higher temp, and you want to cook it pretty much until that sauce is not gone away, but just until it's not as prominent in the dish. So now you're going for a little bit more of a reduction to kind of cook out the water and get the raw flavor of the pad thai sauce. You can see the chicken's fully cooked now. It's good. It's got that pad thai flavor in there. And traditionally, right now, we would add a nice big handful of mung bean sprouts. But again, because of the produce shortage and the supply chains having issues, we don't have any. We actually looked all over and hit up a lot of our suppliers that we get produce from, and no one had any mung beans, and it's been very disappointing. Because we were going to put this on our takeout menu, but we just couldn't do it without the mung beans. It doesn't have that same kind of a flair. And a lot of people have been eating this dish here for many years, and it's not really fair to them to serve it without a key ingredient. So right here you can see the moisture reducing out of the pad thai liquid. This is pretty much what we want it to look like. Now I'm going to introduce the tofu. That's freshly fried, and again, this is just going to soak up all the rest of the pad thai sauce and get a really nice flavor and become pretty much a pillowy sponge of pad thai-ness. You can see that dish is really, really getting created in that pan. So now we have the chicken fully cooked, the noodles fully cooked, and the tofu's involved in there and soaking up all that juicy flavor. You can see the glisten from the sugar and the nice caramelization almost with that sweet chili sauce. So I turned our flame down. add just a little scallion in there. And this is the home stretch right here. Then we'll finish plating it with the limes and the peanuts. I wish you can smell it, because let me tell you, it is an incredible smell. The aromatic coming off of everything is just literally to die for, making myself hungry. Alright, and this is where we want to be. There's no more liquid in the pan. The noodles are fully cooked, and everything's fully incorporated. Alright, here we have set up our little garnish station with a nice fancy bowls. This is exactly how we serve it at our restaurant when it's on the menu at lunch. The only downside again is that we don't have any mung beans. That had a real nice crunch to it. Alright. I'm just going to finish her off here with some peanuts. Which adds a real nice nutty flavor to it, obviously. And again, a crunch to a more mushy dish. Some scallions to top it. And then you have to squeeze the lime into the dish because it adds such a amazing flavor profile. Because it doesn't have a lot of acidity to it when you cook it down because a lot of the sugars come out. But when you add that lime, you get that sweet and that acid from it, and it's just a pow. Pad Thai.